the Happy Hour podcast with your host, Joel Fleischman.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Joel Fleischman Happy Hour podcast, episode number 59. I am here with the almost famous Jim Love. How are you doing today, Jim?
Doing great. I've never had someone intro me like that, and I'm kind of a fan of it. So I'll take it. Thank you for having me. It's a wonderful hot afternoon here in Milwaukee, and I'm just excited to be with you.
Yeah, with the White Sox in the background, though, that's gonna lose some people here.
Hey, it's we all don't like the Cubs, and it comes down to I'm a Brewers fan and a White Sox fan, and it works out well. So
That's totally fair. That's good. Yeah, that bailed you out. So,
right.
Episode number 59. Welcome. I'm actually on an 8-day or a 15-day cleanse. Depends how you look at it, but I'm on a 2-week cleanse, so I'm having a bubbly.
That's fantastic. I like that.
Sparkling water.
Yeah. I got my water bottle from my honeymoon here from Hawaii, and it's been serving me well. I got a big dent in it because I dropped off a bike a few weeks ago, but it's a warrior, so we're good.
Is that Oahu? Which island is it?
It was Maui
it's Maui.
And on Kanapali Beach. It was
okay.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was hard to come home, to say the least.
I love Hawaii. I love Hawaii as well. It really is the best. So episode 59. Quick, Jim, before I even get why you're on and how I get to know you and all that stuff. Any famous 59s? We kind of start with the famous 59s. You know any sports 50? You seem to be a sports guy.
I am a sports guy. Okay, 59. I feel like, if I'm not mistaken, a former White Sox pitcher named Jose Quintana, who became a Cub. I'm almost certain he was 59, and he was my favorite pitcher before he got traded to the north side. But unless I'm wrong about that, I feel like he would be my go-to.
Yeah, Hardy Nickerson, is that a 59?
Hardy Nickerson?
Yeah,
that's a new one. Where's he from?
A football guy, Hardy Nickerson, the linebacker.
Okay. Well, yeah, we kind of picked it. I picked an awkward number.
Yeah. That actually happens a lot more than you think. 59 sure. is Devondre Campbell, the out of the blue.
That was my second guess
for the Packers.
That's who I figured.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So Jim Love, one of the many people. I shouldn't say a few, maybe dozen, maybe a little bit more than that. People that I follow on Twitter just for motivational inspiration. Maybe there's a few dozen. So if you follow me on Twitter at all, I follow Devy Football People, which is a Devy football community. I do motivational stuff, and I follow lumber people in my industry. So as I said, when I tweet, you literally will unfollow me because you either follow me for football content, motivational content, or lumber content, and you're going to be disappointed 2 out of 3 times.
Very quickly, yeah.
Very quickly, like that dude's not who I thought it was. I don't care. I don't care who Bijan Robinson is from Texas, Joel, at all, right? Or I really don't care of your take on the pandemic. So
tell me more about my lumber needs, and we're all set.
Yeah. Why does that guy never tweet about Anderson Windows? Right. So I followed Jim Love for motivational needs. Seemed like a cool guy. Followed him, and he is. And then he actually was very inspirational to my daughter, who was on a 3-day retreat. And she came home and was like, "This Jim Love guy was amazing. He had so much energy. He was so positive. Reminds me of you, Dad. So cool." And I'm like, "Oh, I follow that dude on Twitter." She's like, "No, you don't." Yes, I do. So very, very cool. Yeah. Actually, I think the whole thing was you actually put on Twitter you're going to be at a retreat. And then I think I might have DM'd you. Yeah, I responded or replied
to you. Exactly.
Like, hey,
which is so cool. Yeah, when worlds collide like that, because particularly something like that weekend that I've been involved with since I was your daughter's age, since I was 16, and have been going back ever since. And I'm 31 now. And it really has formed the majority of my thinking about leadership, and I really wouldn't be doing half the things I'd be doing today if it weren't for that weekend that really changed my life when I was 16. So it is really cool.
That's a true story.
It's really amazing. I mean, I hope your daughter obviously had a similar experience, but it's cool now to see like high school students, that I've been doing this as long as they've now been alive, which is ridiculous. But it's really going through that. It's a very it's a weekend about leadership, and it's really kind of like for those who are maybe of faith life, like a Kairos type of retreat, but like that, which is very emotional and really intense. It's that for leadership, and it's really, people get challenged because you're the only person from your high school that gets nominated for this thing, and it's scary, and your daughter should be really proud that she got nominated for it. And you walk in, you don't know anyone. There's 200 people. You got people like me going crazy, and and it's a ton of fun with high energy. But it was the first weekend when I was 16 that I realized that I was okay being me, and it was really important. Like I never had someone tell me. It was always like, how can you grow? How can you get better? And this was like, you are okay, the way that you are. And that was really powerful. I took all that messaging and over the last 8 or 9 years started writing some comments down and writing my own thoughts, and then got into speaking for myself, and then now I'm speaking at that conference that made me who I am, which is just like this wild thing. And so it's my favorite weekend of the year because like I speak at schools, in organizations, and really anybody that wants to hear a message of gratitude and positive energy, all those types of things. But my bread and butter is like an engaged 17-year-old. Like that's really where I got my start, and that's who I wrote my talk for.
Which sounds like an engaged.
Oh, right, yeah. Someone who's very into what they're doing, engaged in the world, engaged.
Yeah. We're shutting the pod down early today.
Yeah, right.
All right, Jim, I'm taking you a little bit further back. I set you up incorrectly. We got right into what you do and how I know you, but let's go further back. Give me your bio. Give me your elevator speech. Where you grew up, how you got into what you do. How do you pay the bills?
Yes. So I that's a great question. So I'm originally from the South Side of Chicago, which is why my White Sox fandom speaks loudly. Although nothing to really brag about these days because it's been a tough year. But I'm originally from there, Irish Catholic family, very very close, very big. And just a lot of fun, a good time. Had a great childhood, and then I went to college at Marquette University here in Milwaukee, and I really haven't left Milwaukee since then. And it's been almost 10 years here professionally, I've got into. I mentioned the seminar that I just talked about here, and really since I was 16. Really got into leadership development and like what that's about and what it means to be a leader, specifically an authentic leader. Because like there's all sorts of forms of leadership, and authentic servant leadership has always just been like my jam, if you will. I just love what it stands for. It's totally like it without me thinking, it's sort of habitually the way that I operate. And I've loved that, right? And so I really got into to leadership. And so I started my career journey when I got out of college. I worked at a company called Catholic Financial Life, which is right on Marquette's campus. And I was essentially a young adult minister there for like 5 years, so life insurance and ministry don't really typically intersect, but this was a faith-based organization. So I was able to
it's called heaven, isn't that?
Yeah, right. That's true. It's a good point. Yeah. You'll know if everyone finds that out sooner or later. But my goal was to get young adult members to join our organization and be part of what we were doing. So I would put on events throughout the Archdiocese of Milwaukee and just connect with people. Young adults was like 18 to 35, which is one heck of a range there. So I did a lot of different things for a lot of people, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. And in the middle of that, I started speaking, and I got my first, when I was like 23 or 24, I got encouraged by a motivational speaker whose name is Arik Jackson, one of my good friends of this day, and he's an international speaker. And really a great guy. He mentored me for about 8 months. He was like, I think you can do this. I think you can put together a talk that's motivational for people and something they would, enjoy hearing, and you could really inspire people. And so I wrote things down. I recorded myself in front of a brick wall like 100 times. I would, message him back and forth. And then I got my first start at the Wisconsin Leadership Seminars that that we just went through a couple weeks ago back in 2015. And I wasn't that good yet. I was really unpolished, but I remember the way I felt. And that was the most important part. Is I remember being on stage and connecting with students, and that was like an irreplaceable, or I should say, what am I trying to say? I couldn't replicate it anywhere else. What is the word for that? But that was basically.
I call it when the Holy Spirit gives you that. Like that's a real spiritual thing, and I'm kind of a God guy, and
same.
I think that's the Holy Spirit just screaming at you. That's why God made you.
I know,
that's
it's
why
true.
God made you, and I saw people ignore that and don't think that's a real thing, or do it for the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
They get past that, but like whatever that is, that's what you should be doing. Like that's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. And I felt it, and it was like where my talent was giving people energy and inspiration, and those two things met, and I felt it, and it was a vocation, like right off the bat, so I've been doing that really ever since 2015, as a side hustle. It's something I enjoy doing, and I started my own company called Authentically You, and I write, I speak, I travel wherever and do that, and really enjoy it. I've written a couple of talks. I've done a commencement speech. I do my normal keynote. I've done a faith-based talk. I actually just did a closing talk for Wills a couple of weeks ago. First time I ever did like a reflection-based talk, which was really cool. And I just love the challenge of that. I'm not a writer by trade, so I like really having the challenge of trying to inspire people, trying to get them going. And then from there, I started a new career at Manpower Group back in 2018, and I've been at Manpower Group since then. I lead a team now. I manage a team of support professionals. So I love doing that, and I kind of build them up at the same time. And that intersects quite often. I'm able to really connect with people through that, and speak to whatever fellow coworkers, whatever it might be. But really, whenever I have free time, it's going on Twitter and sharing a message. I do it on LinkedIn, the same type of thing. And I just have a lot of these thoughts that, particularly now, are important to me. I know I'm biased on that, but and being grateful, I found that the more grateful I am, or the more positive I'm thinking, the less stressed I am. And it's like a total thing. And it really, once I focus, and I know there's difficult stuff. Like I'm not like, I don't wear like rose-colored glasses and ignore everything, but I also don't dwell in the negative. And that's the big thing for me. I've actually been accused of some people of toxic positivity, and I couldn't disagree more on that. And it's something that I've been many times, like you'd be surprised how often people like message me about that. And I'm like, if you're just going to focus on negative, I can't help you. That's like, I can't live that way. And I know there's tough stuff, but I reflect on it. I figure out what it means to me, and I move forward in a way that's going to be more impactful and create change rather than dwell on the negative. And that's a big difference. And
we just had John Gordon on a few episodes ago, and
yes,
we talked a lot about toxic positivity. He was very clear that he gets slammed a lot on social media to discuss that, and saying it's really not a thing. You saying that is trying to make a positivity into evil forces is really, it doesn't bother me. I mean, to summarize what he said or what I say, it doesn't bother me, but I'm sorry that it bothers you, because that really feels where I'll pray for you. I'm like, that's a tough place to be in. I mean, John, one of John's favorite sayings is, "I'm too blessed to be stressed," right? Or that old that saying on the coffee shop wall. And it really is. I mean, you cannot be blessed and stressed at the same time. If you just literally count your blessings, and if the fact that you're talking and complaining is better than a lot of people in the hospital.
Exactly.
Right? Like, there's so many people who just want to complain. I mean, there is a perspective of gratitude. Gratitude walks in the morning. If you're stressed, take a gratitude walk. Count 10, write 10 things down you're grateful for. It's amazing. It's amazing skill that you're teaching people, and believe in. Totally. And thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. And first of all, I love, huge John Gordon fan, have been that way for a while. And him and I think the same on a lot of things. We're very,
he's got to run for president. He's got to run for president.
He should. Yeah,
he's close. I think he's close. He said he's praying on it. I talked to him. He said he's praying on it. So
that would be game on. I was like a no-brainer.
It's a culture game. Yeah.
Yeah. But I always give, whenever I'm done speaking to anyone, like whether it's students or parents, whomever it is, I give a gratitude challenge. And the challenge is always, it's like 3 things in the morning and 3 things at night. So when you wake up, 3 quick things you're grateful for, boom, start the day like that. And when you go to bed, 3 quick things you're grateful for. And like, it's very intentionally grateful that you see will have an impact on your mindset. And so when you're starting off your day like that, it's like, all right, let's do this. And when you're ending your day with, let's think all of the great things that just happened. And like, if you skip a day, that's fine. It's not, you can just go back. But that's been a big thing for me, especially when there's times get tough, or there's bad news, whatever it might be. Like I can continue to be grateful, and I'm like totally on board with him of like people that call me out for that. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry you're dwelling in that place. If I can help you, but I refuse to like bow down to negativity. That's something I will never do, and it's got me to this point, and I'm not going to stop. So
I had some friends that were in a bad place, and every morning they had to start their day by texting me 5 things they were grateful for. What I learned, they had a hard time doing it. Yeah. And when they did it, they went really broad, right? They went really big spectrum, or things that they were proud of. And I'm like, no, grateful. I'm like, can you breathe?
Very different.
Are you in physical pain? I'm like, think much, much smaller. What are you going to have to eat? Are you getting out of a refrigerator? Right? Like, you're living in 2022. Do you have like an orange, and it's January, and you have an orange in your refrigerator? That's literally amazing.
That's huge. Yes, it is.
Billions of people have never experienced that. They would just be like, what?
I know, orange? It's wild. We take it for granted.
So many little things, hot water, right? But so I guess I encourage, if anybody's listening to this, the questioning gratitude, start thinking small. I think you'll see a bigger impact the smaller you think, which again is super counterintuitive, but God is counterintuitive in a lot of things. Yeah.
Yes. It's bite-sized. Like make it easy on yourself. Don't make this some sort of outwardly thing that's impossible to attain. Wake up and be like, hey, I woke up on time, the sun's out, and I smell bacon. Like whatever, you know what I mean? Like that's it.
Life's
That's,
good,
you know,
my friend. Yeah, yeah.
and like it's up to you. You can make it as shallow or as deep as you want, but like the start somewhere. Just start it. And I totally agree. Like when you get too grand or too broad, it's like it doesn't match. It's your life and it's subjective, and you can make it as simple as you want. And make it easy on you. Like that's the person you should make it the easiest on is yourself.
I have a question for you. So
yeah,
I feel people like yourself pull in different parts of their life. They pull inspiration from different things. It could be a book, it could be a recent movie, it could be nature, it could be a human, it could be something they're going through a struggle. Currently, what are you pulling your inspiration from?
It's a great question. I just read the author Bob Goff, who's a lawyer.
Love does.
Yes, Love does, and everybody always.
Everybody always,
that puts me in such a simple mindset, and I actually think about it as I'm talking to people, and really like understand that each conversation I have, like it matters, is important, and so I really like that energizes me. And then actually on the same type.
Did you read Undistracted? That was?
I have not
too?
read that one yet.
Okay.
No. I should do. That should be next. There was a Jesuit priest at Marquette who passed away about 10 years ago, Father John Naus, great guy. And one of his quotes I actually have taped. It's in my living room. It's on my work email. It's on my personal email, and it really is a good reminder for me. But the quote is basically, "See written on the forehead of everyone you meet today, make me feel important."
Oh,
and that one gets me, and it's difficult because you every day is not like you're going to deal with difficult people, but if you walk into every conversation and you decide that you're going to give that person dignity and respect and importance, like that's going to change everything, and they're the most important person in the room at that time, and if you listen to them, that maybe they'll accomplish their goal, or maybe they'll do something, the next thing. So both of those things combined have really been, but that Bob Goff is like totally recently very much on my mind. I was on a weekend trip and read it, and just really impactful, and that's something that will stick with me.
What about the phone number at the end? So for those that you don't know, at the end of the book, he gives out his personal cell phone. He has at this point, I believe, sold millions of copies. I could be exaggerating. I don't think so. It's still his cell phone, and he will pick up and talk to you.
Absolutely.
And that inspired me to put it on our website. So if you go to our website, the contact page, it's my personal cell phone. I'm like, if you want to contact me as the president of Drexel at any time,
call me.
Feel free. Like, just call me. Let's talk.
I love that.
And even Bob said, how often is that really going to happen? And, I always think people say, hey, the world's so messed up right now. And how are, it is horrible with the shootings and everything. And how do you change the world? And I think it's back to Mother Teresa, making it the smallest things. What can you do right now, where you are, with great love? That's the beautiful thing, man. With great love, you said it perfectly. And if you can do that, that starts the change, right? Because that person, maybe I even said, like, the door you open for somebody and a genuine make them feel important. Maybe then that trickles down to the next person, and maybe you just made 10 people. You have no idea the trickle down of that, right?
The ripple is huge. And one thing I always
ripple. That's like a country song, or like that's a book. That's like your first book, The Ripple. That's good.
That's right. Oh, take it in. No, I always say, like, one of my pet peeves, actually, this is gonna be weird for a second, but I don't like when people say change the world, because I think oftentimes we like take that and that's a lot. That's like a lot to handle, and we're not going to change the world tomorrow. So what I like to say is change tomorrow. Like, by the way you treat people. And that's like, if we all focus on changing tomorrow versus like the world, but what are 3 small things you can do tomorrow to change it? Collectively, we're going to change the world. But it starts with tomorrow, with you, with specific actions you could take to not make it this thing that's too much. Make it tangible and effective for you and your reality of whatever your world is and whoever you impact, and watch how that then causes a change that everyone, that people can get on board with, and actually make a change that could be everlasting, which is important. But it starts tomorrow.
I say it very similar to you. I like start to change tomorrow.
Yes.
I like that better than what I say. I say change the world does not mean the world, because I'm never going to be in Russia. I'm probably never going to be in Ukraine. But you can change the world you live in.
I love that too.
I think Jesus and God said, change the world mean it's the world you live in.
Mm-hmm. It totally is.
That technically is your world, right? Like,
it is. Yeah.
Impact your neighbor,
make
and
it subjective.
People at work, make it subjective, make it real. Because again, I do think change the world is an impossible task, and then you quit, and then you just quit.
Who would want to do that?
Yeah. So other things you are hoping to come on the podcast, and again, thank you for coming on. I did not pay him to do this. This is totally pro bono. I appreciate it. It's awesome. This is going to impact people and our company. and the people that watch this and listen to it. So what one thing, and we're almost done already. It's almost half an hour. I just love talking to people like
Flies
this.
by.
Time is an illusion, isn't it? It's just one of the coolest things in life.
Yeah.
It's an absolute illusion.
I love it.
Somebody's listening like, you two guys are boring. I'm going to punch out. Is there something right on the tip of your tongue? You're like, boy, time's slipping away. What should we talk about?
Yeah, I right now, and something I've been really focusing on recently is attitude. Like, I think if people could change up their attitude and really, because like this kind of goes back to the negative toxic positivity stuff, but like you can wake up. I'm a firm believer you can wake up and like decide you're going to have a good day and decide you're going to be a morning person. Like, I think that's an attitude thing. Like, I think you can dictate that you're going to go in, have some energy. Sure, you might need some coffee, like do that, but go in and bring your full self and bring like 100% of what you've got. Because like, we're all too often just like deciding like, oh, like this sucks, and like we make a decision on that. And I know there's going to be tough days, and like that's a reality, but your reaction to those days is what dictates everything, and your attitude is what dictates it all. So I found myself like really focusing on that, like with my team members, with people, whether it's people in leadership organizations I'm in, but an attitude is such an important part of what we bring to the table, and it's what can set you, set yourself apart from people. And I know you probably experience this with your employees and the way that they deliver service. All that kind of stuff is so important.
Yeah, and I think a little bit that I've learned in the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a gap though in your busyness. Because you can really decide to be the happiest go lucky attitude person in the world, and it almost comes across as fake because you are not present. You
Very
are
much
actually
so.
here.
Yeah.
And then when any of your little overbooked, overscheduled day goes wrong, you crack. It just snaps. You don't leave this
It has
gap.
to be real.
And
Yeah.
you literally gotta not try so. Again, it's counterintuitive. Not try so hard. You can't. I actually was a huge Jocko. I am a huge Jocko Willink, Dave Goggins, self-ownership, not Navy SEAL, cleansing for no reason in the middle of July guy, right? And then I literally had to like kind of turn it down. Like, I think it was too hot. Like, you can take that too far where you're just running so hot and cranked and stressed and wearing that Superman cape every day. I think a little bit our in America, our culture has pushed that and driven that, right? Like, I've talked about that before. If you think about 50 years ago, if they were trying to like stereotype rich people in a movie, 50, 30, 70 years ago, what do they are? Rich people are on a beach, chilling.
Yeah, right.
Now, if you take a movie, what are rich people doing in the movie now? Side hustling, getting
all
after
day, all
in
day,
New York, in Manhattan, cocktails, more,
So
let's
true.
go, right?
So
And
true.
we've kind of got away from that balance.
I agree.
Seen as a weakness,
Yeah.
And again, I am not one to say, and I like the anti-work at home guy. I think you got to grind when you got to grind. It's something about balancing that out too.
Totally, no, 100%. And there's like a combo. So there's like bringing in that attitude, but then also filling up your cup when you need to. Like, in order for you to have that attitude, your cup has to be overflowing with, with energy, with whatever it is. And if your cup's empty, not going to happen. So like, you got to be real with yourself about when you need that moment to whatever it's disconnecting, whatever it might be, to go do your thing that fills up your cup. Have that moment happen, and then come back refreshed, because people deserve that from you. That's what, if you're not delivering it and you don't feel like your cup's filled, go find time to do it. And whatever that activity, whether it's meditation, prayer, counseling, whatever it might be that you need to make that happen. And I'm very passionate about that, because we do run ourselves ragged, and burnout's a thing, and it happens often. And I think for us, like, take those moments to sit back, know what you need to do, because it's going to be subjective for everyone. Fill your cup again, and then overflow it around the people that need it. But if you're going to get it empty, like, nothing's going to come out, and you're just going to run yourself to the ground. So it is that combination.
I have never met anyone, or at least it never happened to me, and no one that I know of has had an amazing good idea when they're really, really busy.
Exactly. Yes.
It happens in the shower when you're staring at tile. It happens when you're mowing the lawn. It can happen in church when it's very quiet and meditation, right?
You have the moments.
Hunting, fishing, nature walks, biking, mundane things. I encourage people, do the dishes without the TV or the radio on. Drive without the radio on. Like, that's a really good first step if you're looking like, how do I even start here?
Totally.
Just turn the radio off when you drive. Like, do you really need to listen to the 14th podcast this week?
Yeah.
Do you need to have hits one on? and be jamming to it, or do you just gotta like chill out?
You're just like filling up space. Yeah, like allow yourself
Yeah,
to have that and take in those moments where you can have a little bit of serenity. It's
yeah,
important, and whether whatever that is for you to do it. But I agree. Like just have some moments of quiet and see what comes up. And to your point, like that's time I've had my best thoughts about work stuff and speaking. It's like, oh, like why didn't I think of that? Now write down my iPhone. I have like an iPhone notes thing going, and then start acting on those when I'm back and home and ready to roll. And
yeah.
have that time to just relax and refresh.
Yeah, I thought of it in the middle of the night when I was sleeping. Yeah, because you were chilling out, right?
Exactly.
And then keep a notebook. If you're that person, keep a notebook at your pad so it doesn't spin your brain all night. Or again, have your iPhone handy.
Exactly.
I guess the current thing on my topic, I'd love to have your opinion on. We are doing this not live,
Right.
right? The pandemic, I feel like we were not a work at home society culture. Now it's like, right? If you look at 10, you're looking for 10 different job openings.
Mhm.
Work at home, work at home, work at home, balance, balance, balance. Where are you at in that? Even on your personal job, but where are you
Yeah.
at philosophically? And maybe being at your job, you can't speak eloquently on that, but maybe you can.
Yeah. So I'll start with philosophically. I am to me, and as someone who's a manager and a leader, like if you get your work done wherever you're at, and that's how I've always felt, and I think that. Like I like the hybrid option, like because I think the face to face is still so valuable and really important whenever you can have it. Now, if you hire someone who's in a different state, it's obviously not going to happen. But like I having that flexibility, particularly with parents, and like moms, dads, really having that and them able to do work whenever they need to and get it done and feel empowered to do so is really important. When people abuse it, that's the problem. I think that's kind of where employers' heads are at of like, well, you're home, like you're kind of tapping your toes and whatever. But I love wearing shorts and t-shirt and sometimes being on my computer and not worrying about dressing up. Like I'm cool with that. And I do have that option through my work life as well. But I think like that shift was bound to happen. I think it happened way quicker
Yeah.
than anybody would have never anticipated. But we have the tools and the technology to make it happen. It's using it effectively and also leading in a way where people feel empowered and are able to be sort of on their own and independent in their own house or wherever it's at. But as long
Right.
as you get your work done and you feel supported, to me, I'm like, work wherever you want to.
Yeah.
I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah. And I'm going back and forth,
Hmm.
pre-pandemic, we wouldn't even have done this. I
Right.
didn't even
Yeah.
live on Zoom. I didn't like it. Pandemic hits, living there, like this is the future.
Sure enough.
I'm at my house. I'm like, everyone can work at home. I don't care. 2 years of reflection, it's like, and what we do at Drexel is really a project management products for the builders with a team effort.
Hmm.
And I'm seeing there's major gaps in that philosophy where we need quick decisions quickly on multiple people, multiple levels, and we lose that connection. And I do think day-to-day work can be done at home, but the problem is what happens when there's conflict or
Yes.
like big changes. Right? And
Exactly.
what's going to happen 3 years from now when a company went work at home and now they have a major company launch?
Yeah.
Or they have
It,
major cultural shift and good or bad or software shifts, that's going to get clunky.
it
Right?
will
Like,
be. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think people will feel like they were empowered and part of the process
Yeah.
because they're
And I
going to be
think
like, that was just kind of dictated to me. I think
exactly.
we're on a really slippery slope of like, and Jim, not to go totally against what you said, but
Mhm.
hey, as long as you get your work done, you're fine. That's fine in the day-to-day job, but what happens? And I want that, right? We want to have this. Even venting, I hate complaining, but there is a time you need to vent. Like I'm just
There
going to
is.
vent you right now and get it out.
Yep. Yep.
When do you do that besides your dog or your spouse who doesn't really care? Or
Right.
again, how do you grow within your positions, right?
Hmm.
Or how do you catch when somebody's not in a good place? How do you truly lead a person when you don't really see them that much?
Hmm.
Hey,
Hmm.
you seem just not great. How can I help you? How do you make them feel important on a daily basis
Yeah. Yeah.
without that real connection? Like, let's just
You
go
know,
to lunch and talk. You can
totally.
catch it sort of, but I guess we're at the point in our company for some people, we're going to stay that way and it's going to work. But fundamentally, we say it, we're starting to say it this way: we're better together,
Hmm.
and we
It's
like
true.
being together. And
Yeah.
there's a
We
little
enjoy
bit.
it.
I've done work at home too. Our company still allows flexibility, so don't miss the kids' games, right? So you can still punch out early, still come in late.
Hmm.
So there's still
Hmm.
flexibility in the workplace.
Yeah.
But I do think we're also going to be challenging our culture, maybe we already are, of flexibility at home. Okay, so you don't have daycare, right? You're making spaghetti dinner as you're emailing and texting, and now you're going to work till 9:30 at night to catch up.
Right.
That's not bad. That's not what bad. Again, as long as you work, I don't care. And I know what you're saying, Jim, and you're fundamentally right. But I'm like, that's not healthy either long term.
I agree. Yeah, that's a good point.
Hold on, Mom.
Point.
Just one. I'll be there. I gotta. And that I think some employers are able to tiptoeing around or not getting their work done. That doesn't bother me. I feel good people. If you hire good people, they're going to do their work and do it to the best of their ability. Always, I just trust that process. But I do feel we need to protect them from themselves because they might always be working and never working. And when you lose that focus, depending on your job position, that's a real devil's work, you know.
I agree. You know, and I've done like in terms of like virtual leading too. Every now and then I call it a soul check. Like, so if I'm doing like a one-on-one,
yeah,
like, you know, like let's take 5 minutes. Like, how are you? Like, I don't care about what you're working on, but like, tell me, you know. And I've gotten some like pretty good, transparent responses out of that. And like, I'm just straight up like, I don't care about your work right now. Like, let's chat about what's going on. Like, turn your camera on. Like, how's it going? Like, you know, let's talk. And you know, it's a challenge sometimes, but I think like it's coming from a place where I really do care and I want to know. And it starts to break that wall down a little bit. But to your point, like, you know, it will be really interesting to see how this evolves and what it's actually going to look like and how each company takes it too, and what you know, because it's going to be subjective. It's like it's all going to be different. You're going to go from one place to another, and that culture is super different. It's way virtual. This is way hybrid. You know, so they're really going to figure that out as that goes on. Of what the best
the cameras on and off. Like if you're in my room, like cameras are on. Like I need to see body language. I need to read your emotions. I got to make sure you're here. Cameras off is just telling me you're punched out of the meeting. Like, I'm sorry. And that's what it's telling me. And again, maybe I'm super old school, but I'm like, there's something going on that you don't want us to see you. And either it's
right.
That's a good point. I haven't seen a leader in the room. I'll put it this way. I haven't seen a leader ever have their camera off.
Right. That's
so
true.
Now you're just a participant. Again, if it's just straight training, maybe where I don't want you're not empowered to speak, I'm fine. But at that point, then just record it and send a link out.
Right. Yeah. Then you only need to be there. That's a good point.
Yeah. But again, just stuff I'm thinking.
Yeah, I like
stuff
it.
I'm learning and thinking about, and you know, it doesn't mean it's the truth. It just means what I'm
it's right there.
Continually reevaluating. That's where kind of I'm at right now. So
like
we are at that point already, my friend. 33 minutes in. Last question of the day. I'm sure you have a good one. That's how you roll. We have this big, huge, giant billboard. What does it say and why?
It says, "Do you unapologetically," because that's what I like to say to people. That's the thing I end with always: of be yourself and don't apologize to anyone about it, because we do too much of that. So 3 words. That's on a bumper sticker on my car right now, and it's kind of like it's been my mantra for a long time, and it changed my life when I was 16. I heard it for the first time, and now I've just kind of taken it and rolled. But right up there, big white letters on like a black billboard that you can't miss.
So much, you know, it gives you so much confidence, right? Like God made me special. God made me for a reason. I've always said it this way too. The people that I love this. This is great. The people that I've respected the most in my life, loved the most in my life, are the most authentic people I've ever met.
100% and confident. They know who they are, and they love who they've become. It's really and important.
People that really, and again, people that really kind of drive me nuts or make my skin crawl, which shouldn't, but are the people that I can just read right through. Like, dude, just be yourself. You know, that poor 15-year-old boy that's just trying to be somebody else. I just want to give that kid a bear hug and being like, dude, just be you, man. Chill
that's
out.
Who and that's who I try to speak to. You know, that's a group that I really want to get that point across to.
Yeah.
Right. And I found, and I hope it's working. You know,
obviously, I've seen it from my daughter, and she's always been a very good soul that way. But I can tell she thinks before she speaks just a little bit more, and she's always done that. And I can tell she pushes herself a little bit more to be her genuine self. So I appreciate you for that, Jim.
Of course, I'm happy to. That's what I'm here for. That's what I love doing.
I love it, man. Well, I think I have a feeling we will cross again somehow, some way.
100%.
This won't be the last time we talk.
Yes.
But thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you, man. God bless.
My pleasure. Thank you,
Joel. I'll have a beer, not a seltzer. Okay.
Same.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate
Have a good one.
You too. Bye.